Hey guys, what's going on? Clouds are maybe gonna break. Maybe we're gonna get some sun today. I sure am hoping we are. On break right now. Wanted to come on. Wanted to chat a little bit about Jay Slater. I'm trying to. I've been working on the 3 parts. It's actually going to be 4 parts now, but because it's 5 hours and we'll have to break it down. But it's basically going over everything that we discovered, how we discovered it, how we were able to get things that we were able to get. It's not going to be every secret, but I want to break it down for people to better understand it. And I don't know, probably going to go on Members Live first, and then I'll move it over. And so I wanted to basically come out and chat a little bit while I had a minute. You know, if we get some sunshine, we've been so nasty and so cold and so wet and so rainy, and now, as y'all notice, the sky above me is starting to break through as blue. So it's really, really nice. I'm hoping that it's gonna be a beautiful day. Right, see all the blue? Oh man, it's coming, right? I was hoping because I got to do Maddie Soto's thing today. So her little birthday, that was yesterday. But I did want to come on for a minute and chat with y'all about a few things on this case. Allegedly, these are my opinions. You know, take it as a grain of salt, just a big alleged bubble. But trigger warning times 100 million in this case as well. But, you know, Jay Slater, this is a case I think captivated a whole lot of people's hearts. And I think a lot of people, usually if there's this many people that feel that there was something that bad went wrong, that usually it is, right? Not this many people are going to be wrong. And that's one way that I look at it. You know, you got to kind of study who's saying what, right? Because everybody's opinion does matter. And I clearly always state that. Everybody's opinion always matters. You know, and you're always going to have, you know, people that disagree. But, you know, if they would be more professional about how they disagree and explain why they disagree instead of trying to be what they consider trolls, it would be a lot more, you know, communication and then, you know, sometimes it takes a certain thing to catch somebody's attention and say, oh, well, I didn't look at it that way, right? That's why I did that one about their story, what they say happened. And then when all of us know that does not add up. And I mean, anybody that wants to say that your iPhone's going to work on 1%, you're wrong. And I mean, unless you have a magic iPhone, it's not going to happen. Because every phone that we've tested, which has been over 50 of them, none of them made it to 1%. And we're allowed to call. So not even a voice call. Most of the time at 3 or 4%, sometimes even 5%, they shut off. So, I mean, it's kind of, that's like one of the biggest red flags, of course. And especially that was kind of put out, remember, in the GoFundMe. And it's all these confusions. And just so y'all know, I do have people over there that I'm working with. So I'm not just randomly going through my connections over here to get everything. I mean, you know, but I don't talk about my sources' names because it's not fair. They're over there, living over there, having to deal with this every single day. So that's why. And I have some that send me videos every day to show me how the activity is horrible over there. You know, this cannabis thing, trigger warning, is bad. They're using all these loopholes in the laws to come up with their ways of doing it, but it's illegal. And the popo over there just turns their head. You know, people have reported these things. People have sent in clips saying, look at this person, and they don't do anything about it. You know, there's 32 bars there that sell that? Y'all gotta realize this island is turning into Amsterdam. It is. I hate to say it, but it is. And that's why I was always worried when they started legalizing this stuff, that it was just only gonna help the criminals. Because now they have ways of really taking all this money that they could never put to use before, because they couldn't put it in banks, and now utilize it. And It's just allowing them now more power. That's why you have to go back and look at why was it illegal for so long? To cut down on that activity. But when you make it legal, then you have more criminal networks start popping up. Because they always exist, they just hide in the shadows, right? And they launder their money, they buy into other things. A lot of them buy real estate, property that they can pay cash for. They always try to work cash deals. Because they can't put it in banks, right? They can put some of it, but unless they have other businesses that they can launder it through, they have nowhere to put it. Why do you think, what was that, El Chapo? Remember how much money he had buried everywhere? Millions buried in gun safes and all over that little private, everywhere he was, in his walls. Like, he had money buried everywhere. He had so much money coming in, he couldn't even spend it all in his lifetime. And so that's what I'm trying to say, is this is a bigger picture than most people think. And there's some truth in the beginning of this, guys. Y'all got to go back and listen to the truth, because Lucy told the truth one time. One time she told the truth. And that's when she said that somebody had taken Jay. And the saddest part is that she knew who took Jay. And she knew how to get to that house. You can't tell me she spotted a flower bed and knew that matched. No, it don't work that way. That is a bald-faced lie. And I think everybody knows that. You know, in my opinion, I think everybody knows that. But there's just so many things that never added up in this, ever. And that's what drew everybody into it, is why? Because everybody wants truth. We want truth. If they were to say, hey, this is mysterious from the get-go, like some of them did, this is mysterious, we're going to have to investigate it, everybody would not have been jumping all over this. You still would have had a lot, but you wouldn't have had as many. Because then they would have felt that there was some truth. But when you don't have truth, we dig harder to get the truth. And that's what true crime's about. And don't think for a minute that law enforcement and all kinds of law enforcement agencies don't love the true crime world. Because why? Because that's less money they have to spend digging when everybody else is digging. So think about it that way too. It's a money saver, right? You got to remember, law enforcement's always on budgets. So their budgets have to, they're only allowed so much funds, right? So the more information they can get from other people, the less money they spend to have to get it. And it's a pretty good idea to think about. If you're law enforcement, it's smart. You know, they don't believe everything they hear, they know that. But when they start seeing pictures and videos and things surfacing, don't think they don't grab those, because they do. Don't think they don't add those to their little folder behind closed doors, because they do. And the craziest thing about it is we know now that island is being watched like a hawk, right? And I think everybody in that networking over there knows that island is. But I'm going to post a picture of a thumbnail to show y'all that I do have sources over there that send me pictures. This picture was sent to me yesterday. And it's just an area over in that area on the beach, kind of on the water, with a boat out in the water. And it's going to show you that I've seen every pretty much square inch of that place. And shout out to all my sources over there that help too. And you know what I'm talking about. I say that it's a wonderful thing to have help. It's a wonderful thing to reach out. It's a wonderful thing to always appreciate the people that help, right? That's what we should do. Instead of being haters and all these other people, we should be appreciative that people are willing to take their time, their money, their efforts to work on these cases. Because it's not cheap and it's not free. Travel is very expensive nowadays. But to think about some of the things that are going on over there, it's pretty crazy. And you know, I did see a few people putting in about that song that came out that was supposed to have been released 2 days before Jay Slater vanished. No, it was put out on June 30th. He had already been missing for several weeks. I just wanted to kind of clear that up because some people I know seem to think that it was put out 2 days before. It wasn't. And I think that's been debunked before. I hope, I pray. But anyway, the thing that we need to focus on is what's real and what's not real. What's truth and what's not truth. And the biggest one is the lies. Because when people continue to tell lies and tell more lies and tell more lies and tell more lies, and then eventually they all get caught, and we know that. And eventually they will get caught, right? I'm a firm believer of that. That the truth will come out in this case. It's going to come out. And I knew when I first started working on this case, I gave it 18 months. That was the goal. That's on my sheet that I'll show you on one of these days on our little job board. I gave 18 months to be figured out. And because of all the covering up, that's why you have to look at it as, oh my God, you know, you don't just have one person lying, you have them all lying. But, you know, as we talked about on a couple of videos ago, when I really focused on why did they leave him there? If this is truly your best friend and your best mate and, you know, your pal, Lucy and Brad, this is your pal, then how come you left him? How come when he first called you, you didn't leave right then and there? Why he still had phone battery? Make that shit make sense. Because you went up there, right? You went up there. You said you did. You said you found it by the photo and you were able to match the flower beds and stuff, and that's how you were able to find it, which I do not believe that whatsoever at all. But, you know, it is what it is. I'm not saying the island's huge, but, you know, if you had his last phone ping and you had his, you know, his location, then how come you didn't go to that location? How come you weren't looking for a house? Right? If you had his location, you knew he wasn't there, why go there? Some people are going to say, well, because they were trying to see if he... No. Think about that. They had his location. So if they have his phone location, why in God's name go track down a house? Why waste the time doing that when you know he's 2 miles from there? You know he'll walk 30 minutes, so you know he's not close to there. But you know what's really odd about it all is that even his uncle stated Jay wouldn't even walk 200 meters to get his hair cut. He had to have a ride. You know, this is a hard-working bricklayer. You know, his time off is his time off, right? He don't want to be walking around on his time off. He's on his feet all day. So technically, yes, I get that. And most kids that age don't want to walk. They're spoiled. And it's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. So for you to tell me that he's going to take off on an 11-hour hike after he's been partying all night is beyond BS. So what we have focused our main focus on, and I might as well just tell y'all now because it's going to come out in the first one, is the main focus for us was 1 a.m. to 6:30 a.m. That was our focus. Because with what we had gathered, we knew that whatever transpired within that time frame. So if you think about what I just said, y'all know all the car activity came right after that. Right? Like they were getting back to that place right after that. So that's why we focused on 1 a.m. to 6 a.m. Because we figured they're not going to do something in the daylight. So it had to have been in the dark. You know, we know all of them ride around on their motorcycles and they act like they own that island. We get it. And then they get all their little Brits to dress up with their gold chains and their champagne bottles and walk around like they're God Almighty. You know, there's a lot going on in that island that people do not even realize. And this is not just about Jay. This is about all the people that have vanished on that island. A lot of them have vanished. And so in the process of doing this, we've uncovered other cases that like match the same thing. So there's 4 cases that are almost identical. And I mean, we'll get into those. I mean, we did get into those on the second, I think part 2 of this part 4. But you know, it's I don't know. It's I don't want to give away it, because if I give away everything, then you're not going to want to watch it. And I want everybody that's truly in this for Jay. Your heart is truly in it for Jay. These videos that we're going to drop are going to really explain our vision with a lot of y'all's visions, because a lot of y'all have the same visions we have. And it's I guess the way to put it is, when things don't add up, they just don't add up. And we know in this case, nothing added up. We still have to go back and look at everything that was said in the very beginning. Like when his mother landed, for instance. She had landed, and then 10 minutes after she landed, she got that Snapchat, which she had Zach take a screenshot of. Thank God. They had the phone number. They did all that. They got all that. So they were able to have at least the number that it came from. And nothing ever came of that. Who was that person, right? They never told us. So that's something that's not floating around. That's something that they're keeping very close to the chest, which is good, because that could be a piece in the puzzle. And there's so many little things that happen in the very, very beginning. I'm talking within the first 5 days of this, that even the guy that wants to do the documentary on it even he clearly said in the beginning, this is a criminal networking, this is a criminal underworld. And it is. And it didn't take him long to figure that out. You know what I'm saying? It did not take him long to figure that out. I can guarantee you that. I think everybody already knew that. I think he knew that when he went over there. And the only thing that I disagreed with what he did was keep everything from Jay's mother and father and brother and family. I don't think that was right ever. This is a mother that wants to know, right? This is a mother that's clearly torn apart and ripped apart and then was picked apart for no reason. She did nothing wrong but go there to try to find her son, and didn't leave till she had him. So shout out to mama. You know, and brother, and father, and uncle, everyone that helped. You know, I mean, even the ones that abandoned Jay tried to search in the beginning, but not long. But like they say, you don't search for something that you know where it is, right? We talk about that a lot. In a lot of cases. You do not search for something you know where it is. And you don't find a house based on a flower bed on an island. Especially a 40-minute, 50-minute drive across the island to an area that supposedly you've never been before. How did you know to go to the top of that hill, right? I mean, I know that, you know, a lot of people feel Jay wandered off in that ravine and he fell. I'm sure a lot of people feel that way. And that's okay, right? And there's a lot of people that feel that realize that seeing the footages of that area or seeing it in person and know, no way in heck a kid that did not like to walk 200 meters to get a haircut would have climbed up that thing like a ballerina. Just wouldn't happen. And if even Brad, he was on a trail on a little bitty slope, right? Not a big slope. Okay, but you know, something that always caught my attention in the very beginning was that they never really put out a time frame of when they thought. I'm talking about the coroner's office. Never really put out a time of when they thought he passed, right? They just say sometime around the 17th of June. That's all they say. They don't clearly say, hey, we you know, our technology shows us, you know, that it was on the 17th or around the 17th or the 18th or the 16th or the 15th or that's within these 2 weeks or that 2 weeks. Like, you know, usually they do that, and they didn't. And as we know, all the phone technology, how cloning works and things now, I'm sure y'all have all Googled that and checked on it. And like I told you, the Caleb Harris case out of Corpus Christi, Texas was a good one to go view because that was a new one. That went on in March, and it gives you an idea of how they do it and why they do it. So technology has become incredible, and it's only getting stronger every day. But the thing is these criminals are figuring it out too. And that's why we have to try to stay one step ahead, not two steps behind. Because their goal is to stay one step ahead. So that's the hard part in this, is trying to make sure that we focus on what's real and what's not real, right? We don't worry about what's truth and what's not truth. And clearly, take your notes. The ones that don't feel that this, right, is what it is, or what we think it is. Just go take your notes of all the things that have been talked about, all the news clippings that were put out, all the reported information that was put out, all the statements from the police over there, which weren't very many, but there were a few. You know, all the search teams, all the rescue teams, all the dog teams, all the drone teams, helicopter teams, all those things, right? Like, go listen to what they say in the beginning of all this. In the first 2 weeks, when they started to give up at the end of that first 2 weeks or whatever it was, I think shortly after the 2-week mark or something. And then, of course, they put in there, well, it was an extensive search. We were searching privately. No, you weren't. We had other people there filming and searching. We know y'all weren't running around up there searching. And what never got me was how in the very beginning of their search, they switched over and went to a whole nother side of the island. And I know they say it was based on a tip, but you know, law enforcement is not going to pick up what they're doing and move unless they have a pretty strong reason to. So I've always wondered about some of those things too. And of course, some of them, they don't really talk. We've reached out hundreds of times to them. They just don't want to speak about it. And we know they don't want to speak about any of the cases. And that's why every now and then we're throwing another case that happened on that island out here. It's just to kind of put that out and keep that awareness going, to try to get other people to get involved as well, right? Because, you know, there's a lot of them. Matthew, you know, the Jackson boy, the military boy that, you know, vanished jumping over a wall. Yes, I did dig on that one, and it looks to me like, yes, it was. But, you know, if it looks to me that he didn't know what was on the other side of that wall, is how I looked at it. But then again, there is always a possibility that he just jumped over there and then, you know, something bad happened. But I didn't feel it in that one because there was no mystery in that one. It was more or less, it was checked into right away, right? Because she didn't wait but a few minutes to go call and go look. So that's why I feel that one was, you know, a complete accident, which is heartbreaking, bad. This young man did not deserve that to happen. But sometimes horseplay can get you in trouble, right? We know that. And in this instance, Jay wasn't jumping a wall, right? They're saying he jumped off of a mountain. And it's just, I just don't see how, I mean, any of us could go try to walk that thing, and I guarantee you, the amount of hikers that probably hike that area never fall. And that's, now if there would have been, you know, 4 or 5 that had fallen off of there in the past and we knew it was a dangerous spot, you know, if it was as dangerous as they say, how come it wasn't roped off, right? That's why I felt like, you know, when I saw those photos of that ridge, you know, the Juan Lopez, when I saw that area, the ravine, and saw the top peaks of that, the higher areas where they're saying it happened, he wouldn't have tried to climb up there. Nobody in their right mind, unless you were a very experienced hiker, would have tried to do that. And it just, nothing ever added up with the amount of hours and time and drone footage. I mean, there was 12 different shots flown right over that. Low to the ground, too. That would have caught that, regardless of, yes, it was thicker brush, but you still would have seen something. And as y'all know, mine is the white shirt. I always felt like I knew she was lying when I saw the photo of the shirt he was wearing. And then she said white. I knew her story was not going to add up. And it's just basically I don't know where she came up with that white shirt from. But, you know, it is what it is. And now I've seen the photos of Tom Hilton singing on that stage a couple of days before that. So I know now he was there. He cannot get around that. It's posted. It's everywhere now. It's going to probably hit social media pretty soon, I'm sure, if it hasn't already. He's standing like, there's like a bald guy up there that looks kind of like Chris, but it's not Chris. It's a different guy. But I'm not going to go into that yet because that's on one of our part 2s, I think. So I'm not going to really go much into it. But yeah, we were finally able to vet that he was there. And he was actually wearing a yellow shirt when he was singing. I know. I've seen the photos. I know. Shout out to the one that got him for me. Much appreciated. Just be careful because it is dangerous over there. I get it. I know they all got their little play toys and their dirt bikes and all their stuff, and they have places they own over there, but they don't live there, but they live there some. And you know, everything is starting to come together and make perfect sense. And the good thing about it is that they're looking into it, right? And I think maybe 1 or 2 people misunderstood what I said when I said that. And I said they're going to look into this. And at least we know they're going to look into this. And if we don't get any more answers back in the next 2 to 3 weeks, then we'll start again. We're not giving up. And we're not going to stop pushing. That's what we do. I mean, if we don't fight for justice, nobody will. And I encourage all of y'all to do the same, especially the people that live there. You know what? Write a little letter and take it and drop it off at that station, right? The more pressure we put, the more it's going to make, the more difference it's going to make. So, you know, mail it in if you don't want to. Don't put a return address. Don't put your name. Just mail them in. You know, I mean, there's a lot of us that do research on this case and a lot of y'all that live over there. So you know what? Mail in a damn letter. Take the time. Spend a little money on a stamp. Because, you know, you want to keep their heads reminded. And that's what we have to do. That's why we push the way we push. Is to keep it going, to keep it alive. Because if not, you get past a year, 12 months of this, it's usually going to just like be forgotten about. So we can't allow that to happen. Kind of like Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers approaching the year this coming week. We can't allow that to happen. So we have to keep pushing no matter what. And at least in Jay's case, he was found. And there's a lot of them that we're covering that are still not found. So, you know, it's something that at least we have that part of it. And, you know, knowing where he was found, I don't think anyone believes he was there. Because they would have found him in the beginning. The dogs would have found him, sorry. They would have found him. I mean, that's pretty much 99.99999. They would have found him. And I think clearly, if you talk to any search and rescue canine handler, they're going to tell you the same thing. If they were within a half a mile of him, because, you know, when you have dogs, you go downwind, right? And you work your way up. So the wind's blowing in the dog's face, even if it's a small breeze. You want, because scent travels. So that's a lot of times how we do with dogs. And in this case, that would have been the third or fourth day. It was kind of windy, so of the dog searching. So that way, that means that they would have had the scent, right? And I'm sorry. I know a lot of people might disagree, but this case is foul play. Sorry, in my opinion, it's 100% foul play. And if the stories would have been a little closer to matching in the beginning, I would say there's a slim chance that it's not. But none of them match. And the funny thing is they still keep taunting people. They still keep coming out and talking because they feel like they're invincible. But you know what? Nobody's invincible. I hate to tell them that. And when you've been to jail before, like some of them have, they should know they're not invincible. But it's okay. Let them keep going. Truth's coming out. I just, you know, I'm going to start sharing a little bit of these photos that I'm getting from some of my team people over there. And that way y'all can see that we can get pictures from anywhere on that island we want. any time of day I want. Y'all tell me a place y'all want me to get a photo of, and I'll get it for you. Right? I can get it off of a GPS in a car. I can get it out of actually somebody taking a photo and sending it to me. I can have them film a little clip and send it to me. If y'all feel that there's an area that you want me to look at, put it in the comments. And I'll get one of my sources to go to that spot and make me a little clip, and I'll post it. That way, we can start looking at some of these other areas, because where did they keep him? I really don't know yet. But it had to be somewhere cold. So, in order for the fingerprints to have worked. And, I mean, I've talked to 6 different people. And I know some people think, well, yeah, you could, so if it was a dry climate, yes. But moisture at night, dry in the day, it's not. Any bit of moisture is going to mess it up after 29 days. 29 days you would not have been able to, unless it was like in a desert, and that's not a desert. And where he was found is shaded and overgrown and beds, all kind of grass and weeds and vines, and no. It's shaded most of the day, no. It would not have happened, sorry. I hate to say it, that one guy that I think worked on fingerprinting and stuff and had done classes and courses, I think he came out in the beginning and even said, no way. Especially not as fast as they said that. And I understand there's clothing items. And okay, guess what, guys? We did get the vetting on his black bag was found with him. So evidently, that was found with him. It was one of the belongings. I don't know if they just recently put that out, because when I searched for it before, I couldn't find it. But now if you go look up the conclusion to Jay Slater, that UK Morning place put out a thing, and it's in there. And I did. I was alerted of it a couple of days ago, because I searched for it a lot and couldn't find it. And now it's clearly in there. I should have wrote that down. I could have given it to y'all. I'll look it up again and get the name, and I'll post it in the next video of what to look under. But it was like a little yellow circle symbol, and it's like a UK news. Y'all probably know what I'm talking about. But they put in there the conclusion of Jay Slater and what was found with him. Or you can type it in as was Jay Slater found with his black bag, and it'll pull up everything he was found with: cell phone, clothing, all that stuff. They were around the area where he was found, cell phone and things like that. That's what they clearly put in there. So somebody has the photos of the area. So somebody had to have seen that the phone was found there in the photo, and the black bag and everything else. But you know what never made sense is that nothing was found on him. So that truly doesn't add up. But anyway, guys, y'all have a good day. I didn't want to get too much into it, because I don't want to spoil the clips. But y'all have a good day. I just want to keep the awareness going for Jay Slater. And, you know, truth's coming out soon. So y'all guys be good, be safe. Remember, allegedly, these are my opinions, my thoughts, my theories, my speculation, not to reflect the channel. Y'all's comments, y'all's and y'all's alone, not to reflect the channel. We do our research together. We have a big-hearted little family. Figure 1 times 100 million. Justice for all the missing. Prayers for all the runaways. And justice for Jay Slater and all the ones that need. All right, guys, y'all be good, be safe. We'll talk on the next one. Bye.